This is case number 194444501. The people of the state of Michigan versus Nicole Green. Defendant is charged with failing to report an accident. Okay. And then count two, well, that count. And then count three, driving while license suspended, revoked, denied. Today is the date set for sentencing, and count two should have been dismissed. Appearances, please.
For the record, Your Honor, Christina Ritter on behalf of the people.
Janice Stevenson appearing on behalf of Ms. Nicole Green. Good morning, Ms. Green. Please tell Judge your full name.
Green. Somebody just said on my front row. Who is that?
Complaining, Michael Reeves, Your Honor.
I apologize, Judge. The people are aware that the complainant witness, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
The people are aware that the complainant witness is in court in person. I don't know if the court will want, Mr. Reeves, can you stand up where you are and state your name for the court?
Michael E. Reeves.
All right, thank you. Okay, today is the date set for sentencing. The court has had an opportunity to review the pre-sentence report. With respect to the report itself, are there any additions, deletions, or corrections on behalf of the people?
Judge, looking at the pre-sentence report, I don't see any additions, deletions, or corrections on our end.
Oh, I remember this case. Why is it that I thought I already sentenced this case and that, why did I think I already sentenced this case and it was supposed to be some restitution about standing in the thing and Mr. Reeves already addressed the court? I'm confused. And remember he said he was coming and I said, so what did I do it? Did I do a trial? I didn't do a trial.
No, a
What
plea.
happened at the last court proceeding that I would have heard from Mr. Reeves?
So, oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ms. Ritter, because it may be a little bit more clear coming from you.
So, Your Honor, I believe the last hearing we had was a sentencing, and Mr. Reeves did address the court. However, the court adjourned the sentencing because Mr. Reeves had some documentation for restitution, and the court wanted the people to go through that documentation to verify the restitution in this matter.
And I adjourned the sentencing?
That's what I remember, Judge. If Ms. Stevens said you have additional information, that's all I remember.
That's my recollection.
Oh, okay. So I did not sentence Ms. Green.
Right.
Okay. Okay, because this was because I remember this. So that's interesting. Okay. So then with respect to sentencing, the court has had an opportunity to review the pre-sentence report. With respect to the report, well, did we go through that part already? Additions, deletions, or corrections?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, I knew this was real familiar to me. Okay, so we already did additions, deletions, or corrections. And then on behalf of the people, then, is there anything with respect to sentencing? Now, I already heard from Mr. Reeves because I already know that and remember I gave a whole big speech and I said, sound like it should have been charged a different way and blah, blah, blah. I remember all of that. So Ms. Ritter, anything additional on behalf of the people?
Judge, just as far as the restitution in this matter, so I did receive, there was a folder left in the court the last time for her the sentencing, and Mr. Reeves left a folder regarding some restitution information. I did receive that folder, and from the information that I have, Judge, there are There are some payments as far as the medical expenses that the people just had further questions regarding Mr. Reeves' out-of-pocket expenses.
Okay, well, let me ask this. Was any of the information shared with defense in terms of what may be valid claims under the Crime Victims' Rights Act in terms of restitution? Is Ms. Stevenson aware of any proposed amount for restitution?
So, Your Honor, the folder was left in the court for me. I don't know if Ms. Stevenson got a copy, but I did not send a copy to her. She did not. Okay, so the people did not share the information, or at least send the copies to Ms. Stevenson regarding the medical expenses and other claims for restitution.
And when you say you have more questions for Mr. Reeves regarding the medical expenses, you're indicating the questions that I would have in terms of this is what it was, but what was actually paid by insurance and then the out-of-pocket?
Correct, Judge. So the medical report that I have, it's a detailed report. However, the way it's itemized, it's unclear as to if insurance paid it's listed as expected insurance payment. I don't know if insurance actually paid it because it's listed as expected to be paid by insurance, or if it was not, because it's not clear as to if they paid the expected payment.
Okay. And then with respect to, do you have multiple bills or multiple bills that are the same, or?
So the way that the report is detailed, Your Honor, it looks like the payments range from a date starting at January 16th, 2020. That's the first visit. And then the last visit is March 4th of 2022. So they have those payments for those dates itemized in this report.
You said January 16th or 18th?
I have January 16th, 2020.
Oh, 2020. Okay, that confuses me.
And that's where the people are unclear, Judge.
Okay, so do we agree that the incident occurred on January 18th, 2019?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Do you have any medical bills or any bills submitted with the date of treatment in 2019?
So the only date I see listed in 2019 on this report predates the incident date, Judge. So the date I see for 2019 is November 7th, 2019.
That wouldn't predate it. I mean, the incident was in January 2019.
I'm sorry, you're right. Yeah, so
so the first date that you have is in November 2019?
Yes.
What are you saying? I thought he got, what? Okay. Do I have the cases mixed up or no?
No.
Okay. All right, so you don't have any medical records or claims for restitution from within a week of January 18th of 2019.
Good. I'm going through it one more time. I don't see any dates around January 18th of 2019. The date that starts on this report says November 7th, 2019. And then it ends at May 6th of 2022. That's what was included as far as the medical expenses in this folder.
Okay. Ms. Stevenson, anything on behalf of the defense? I apologize, Ms. Ritter. Was there anything else on behalf of the people?
Judge, just again for restitution, there are rehabilitation statements for physical therapy, I believe. Oh no, rehabilitation physician statements. And those statements start at February 10th, 2021. And then they end at November 21 of 2022 with the amount listed. It looks like just a screenshot of the statement dates and statement numbers and description of the statements, which is a copy that I have. And then the last document that I have is the motor scooter that was purchased online. And it looks like it doesn't give a date when it was purchased, but I see the delivery date was February 8th of 2023.
Anything further?
Not from the people, Judge.
Ms. Stevenson, anything on behalf of the defense with respect to sentencing?
Your Honor, we did at our last hearing have an opportunity to ask the court to adopt the probation department's sentencing recommendation, in that the information I have is that they did a pretty thorough interview and investigation with Ms. Green, and accordingly fashioned a sentencing recommendation. And, you know, I haven't seen, I definitely trust what Ms. Ritter is saying to me, Your Honor, or saying to the court, but haven't seen anything to substantiate any request for restitution for out-of-pocket medical expenses that Mr. Reeves would have incurred. We have a couple of issues. I know that, we would really just have some concerns about the timeline, and whether or not any medical treatment is contemporaneous with any injuries that Mr. that Mr. Reeves would have suffered. And I just need to try to make a little bit more sense of all that, Your Honor. It might be premature for me to request that restitution be left to a matter of civil litigation. I may make that motion at some point, but I guess I would want to look over what Mr. Reeves has submitted, Your Honor, to the court.
What did Ms. Green already address the court, or did she decline to do so at the last hearing?
She did decline to do so, Your Honor, at the last hearing on the advice of counsel, Your Honor.
Okay.
We did offer, through counsel, she did offer an apology to Mr. Reeves. There's no contact between the parties. Children don't go to school there anymore. No reason for them to have any contact with one another, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. Okay. Now let me tell you all what I remember. I remember after the last hearing, and that's why I didn't remember that I didn't sentence Ms. Green, but now it kind of makes sense to me though, because I was so appalled at the whole thing. Remember that the courtroom is not muted, please. I was so appalled at the fact that some of the stuff that I was being told by Mr. Reeves, and then I was like, I'm not going to, I need to see, I want all the medical bills and whatnot, because I remember I said, why wasn't this charged as a felonious assault? Because from what I had heard, I just knew it was something different. So now that you're telling me the first medical bill that you have is from 8 months after the incident, that's confusing to me. If you could try to not, I don't know, since you can't mute the courtroom, because it keep distracting me a little bit. Okay. So I mean, yeah, okay. I'm not, so now at this moment, I'm not persuaded. I'm not persuaded that the way that Mr. Reeves described the incident is the way that the incident occurred. I'm no longer persuaded. I'm no longer persuaded that whatever happened on January 18, 2019, I'm no longer persuaded that it resulted in injury to Mr. Reeves. I'm not persuaded. I'm no longer persuaded that whatever occurred with Mr. Reeves losing his job, I'm no longer persuaded that it had anything to do with this situation, because you have not identified any reason in close proximity to January 18th of 2019 that Mr. Reeves would have had lost wages and medical bills. So if the situation occurred in the way that I believed it to have occurred on the last date we were scheduled for sentencing, there would be some medical bills from January 18th, 2019. There would be a medical bill from some point in January of 2019, January 2019 medical bill. There would be a presentation of some lost wages due to having to go off work in January 2019. I'm reading the victim statement again on page 4. And when he spoke to Mr. Farmer, Mr. Reeves indicated that he has suffered tremendously. He wanted her to spend time in jail. He wants her to be held accountable. And then he said that he wanted her to reimburse him for lost wages and medical bills. And the court is not persuaded that a medical bill in 2021 has anything to do with 2019. The court is likewise not persuaded that some physical therapy in November of 2019 has anything to do with a situation that occurred in January of 2019 without without anything in between there. If the situation occurred the way that I believed it occurred, then there would be some, like, you can't just get hit by a car and walk around for 8 months and then all of a sudden you need physical therapy. I'm confused by the presentation of restitution, the restitution request. I'm confused by the dates of the restitution request. So the court is going to impose the following sentence. There is a recommendation from probation to sentence Ms. Green to a probationary period of 12 months. The court is going to accept that recommendation as Ms. Green does not have any prior criminal history, and I am no longer persuaded that the incident that was described to me on the last date of June 23rd, I'm no longer persuaded that this incident was as serious as it was presented to me. Court is going to set a final review date of July the 17th of 2024. Ms. Green is eligible for early discharge. After 6 months, the court is going to set a review for January the 18th of 2024. That review will be at 10 o'clock. The court is going to sentence or impose the following conditions of sentence. You shall not violate any criminal law of any governmental unit. You must not leave the state of Michigan without the consent of the court. You must make a truthful report to probation on a monthly basis, and you must notify probation immediately of any change of your address, phone number, or employment status. You will pay the following fines, costs, and fees: $210 mandatory costs, a $100 attorney's fee, a $200 fine. Court is going to, at this very moment, set restitution at 0. However, if I am presented at the first review hearing of any appropriate restitution costs, then the court will reconsider its decision. But I'm going to tell you right now, without some type of medical opinion from the doctor, that whatever injury that you're trying to submit a bill for from 2021 is directly related to the incident on January 18, 2019, I am not setting any restitution. Unless the court is persuaded of a direct correlation between some medical bills 2 years later from an incident that occurred in January 2019, I'm not going to set restitution. I'm not going to give restitution. I'm not going to order restitution for those items. That is too far removed. The November physical therapy is too far removed. Unless the court is persuaded by a medical doctor's opinion that whatever the physical therapy that occurred in November was directly related to what happened on January the 18th, I'm not going to include it in restitution. So at this particular time, the court will set restitution at 0. However, I am open to a restitution, to reopening restitution upon a proper proof that those bills are related to the incident. Supervision fees are $420. The pre-sentence investigation fee is $35. The total fines, costs, and fees for a 12-month probationary period is $965. If you finish within the 6 months, then you only have to pay $755, unless the court orders restitution, and then I will keep you on for the remaining 6 months while we address the restitution payments. Additionally, you shall not use or possess any illegal substance. You shall not use or possess any marijuana without a valid medical marijuana card. You shall not use or possess any opiates without a valid prescription from the doctor and letter of explanation indicating why they have prescribed such an addicting narcotic. You shall not drive without a valid license. According to this report, your license is suspended and your status is ineligible. You shall complete 5 days of community service. That's equal to 40 hours. The court doesn't believe I read anything that alcohol was involved. Am I correct?
That's the people's understanding, Judge.
All right. So the court is not going to order the no alcohol. Additionally, I'm not ordering random urinalysis. However, she will submit to urinalysis today while she's in the building. And if there's any need for the court to be concerned, she did test positive for marijuana when she tested before and alcohol. But I don't even care about the alcohol. Of course, she will have no contact with complaining witness, Mr. Michael Reeves. And I am going to order the anger management 6 weeks through eBay. We will mail you a copy of the probation order to the Whitcomb Street address. Probation will contact you at the phone number ending in 8334. Oh, and I'm sorry, as to count 3, driving while license suspended, revoked, denied, count 3. Count 3 will run concurrently with count 1. However, the court is going to impose the mandatory cost of $185 on count 3, as well as a $200 fine on count 3. That's an additional $385. All right, anything further?
Not from the people, Judge. Thank you.
Nothing on behalf of Ms. Green. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Green, you're all set, ma'am. You have a great day and stay safe. Mr. Reeves, have a great day and stay safe. And I'm ready again on Barnes.